Hi, it's Shola here from Speak Up Like a Diva, Speak Up and Shine, and I'm a professional singer, public speaking coach, and a professional speaker based in London. And what I want to do today is just talk a little bit about negotiations and about what you should be having in mind when people approach you to speak at an event for them, and how you can sort of negotiate, your way through what can sometimes be quite tricky, especially when you're new to speaking and you're just starting out. You want to do as many speaking opportunities as you can, but sometimes you find that people are taking the pee a little bit here and there. And this video was prompted by a couple of things. First of all, by somebody who contacted me on Instagram with some questions, who'd been asked to speak at an event and wasn't sure if it was appropriate for her to ask about any money, and was this a paid event, or was it assumed that she would speak for free. So she contacted me and asked me, how to sort of get through, this sort of period, or through this contact with these event organisers. And in addition, it's something that comes up a lot where, perhaps you have a fee in mind or a set of conditions in mind for speaking, and then whoever's running the event has got something else in mind. So how do you negotiate that? How do you try and get what you want, while at the same time not alienating the person who's trying to get you to come and speak? And I'm not a professional negotiator. If you want to find out more about negotiation, I'm sure that there are courses that you can take. There are books like, I think it's called Never Split the Difference by, I forget the guy's name, Chris somebody, and he's a former, I think, FBI negotiator, and that was a big book a couple of years ago when it came out. There's also a book called, I think it's called Getting to Yes, and there's various different versions of it. But those are two classic books on negotiation if you want to go into more detail. This is just a bit of a, back of an envelope treatment here. But, you may find it useful. So the first thing is, if someone's asking you to speak, there's absolutely nothing wrong with saying, is there a budget? Let me look in the camera, here it is. There's nothing wrong with saying, is there a budget? Okay? No one is going to run away or get offended by you asking such a simple and innocuous question. And at least if you ask that, it kind of flushes them out, right? So they'll say, yes, there is. What kind of fee are you looking for? Or they'll say, no, there isn't, right? Which is fine. Then, if there isn't a budget, you may have heard by now of an expression which goes free, fee, or flee, right? So if you're speaking for free, which is fine, then you should be able to promote a service, promote a product, at least try and get some people on your list, right? So as soon as they say, oh, there's no payment, you can say to them, well, is it okay for me to try and get some people on my list? Is it okay to share a freebie and see if people want to sign up for it? Is it okay to promote a service? Is it okay to mention what I do, right? If they're asking you to speak for free, then there should be something in it for you beyond just the speaking opportunity itself. Now, if you're very, very new to speaking and you need, testimonials, you need footage, you need evidence that you've been out there speaking, then of course take those free opportunities. Everybody, or most people at least, get started, with the free gigs, right? So don't worry about that. And even if you're an entrepreneur and your goal is not to be paid directly for speaking, but it's to promote what you do, even then, even if you're starting out and they say to you, sorry, we don't really want you to promote what you're doing, it's okay, right? Because, if you get the footage, if you say to them, can I take photographs? Can you promise me a testimonial if I do a good job? All of that is fine when you're starting out. You're just kind of banking all these opportunities and, getting as much sort of collateral, if you like, on evidence that you're a good speaker and you've had speaking experience. Now, once you get beyond that, so we've talked about free, then there's also fee, right? So there's people paying you directly for speaking or paying you by giving you an opportunity to promote what you do. And again, that's fine, but make sure that you're very clear how far you can go in terms of promoting yourself. If they say you can't promote yourself, then maybe you want to do something like have a prize draw. So you might say at the end of your talk, well, actually, I've got a prize draw for a free coaching session with me. And then when you talk about your coaching, you can actually, go into a few bullets about the fantastic coaching service you provide. Or if it's a physical product, you might say, okay, but I'm going to give away one of my products today. These are the features of it, right? Now, if you do a good job in describing that product, it will sound so juicy and attractive that even though you haven't been able to kind of officially promote what you do, there'll be a few members of the audience that come up and say, oh, well, I didn't win, but that sounds amazing. Can you tell me more about it? I'd love to buy it, or I'd love to know more. So there are ways to get around being asked to speak without being able to sort of officially promote your service, your product, what you do. If you're being asked to speak and potentially there is a fee, first of all, this idea, is there a budget, should flush out the fact that, yes, there is some money to pay you. Secondly, and obviously I'm speaking about people who are kind of at the beginning speakers. Obviously, if you're a big, like, $30,000 keynote speaker, you're probably not even watching this video, right? But, if you're just getting going and you're hoping that they're going to pay you a little something, first of all, that question, is there a budget, will flush that out. Secondly, then it becomes quite a sort of a dainty kind of sort of game of, okay, well, what do you want? How much, what's your fee? And then you're scared to say exactly what you want in case it scares them away, right? So there's that kind of whole sort of delicate thing going on there. But typically, you'll be asked to state something first, right? So if you really want to do you really want to take the opportunity, and the money isn't that important to you, but you obviously want to get as much as you can, you might state what your desired amount is, and maybe state it at the higher end, right? Because obviously they'll most likely negotiate you down. Very few people are going to say, oh, you want £2,000. Oh, well, we've got 3. That's not the way things work, right? So if you tell them sort of at the higher end of what you're looking for, then expect the negotiation to bring things down, but at least you've put it out there what you'd like to get. Now, often what my arm's aching, let me change. Oh, that's better. Right. So often what happens is they'll sort of hum and ha a bit and say, oh, well, this much. Oh, well, we weren't expecting to pay that much, or you'll kind of hear a little bit of resistance in their voice. So stay strong, right? Don't immediately say, well, I can lower it. You might say, well, I'm open to negotiation. It sounds like a great opportunity. I'm open to negotiation. And in addition, if I can get some footage, or if I can get a testimonial or some referrals from you, or some repeat business, I'm very open to possibly lowering the fee a little bit if needed. So then that way, that gives them a sign that you are actually keen, and then you can go from there. Now, one more point, I've got to go and sing in a few minutes. I can't really speak for much longer. But another point is this, and that's when you've had your conversation, you've put the phone down, it's not over, right? So you might think, I didn't really explain myself fully and the value that I could give to their audience while I was on the phone. And now my chance is lost. And most likely when they come back to me, because quite often they don't decide on the phone with you, they'll say, oh, we'll email you next time and tell you, whether we want to go ahead or not. So so don't be afraid to drop them another email in between, or drop them an email offering more value, or offering them ideas as to, the way you can make their event even better, or little bits and pieces that you can add, maybe at no expense to yourself, but will be really useful to them. For example, it might be, I'll create a little video for your attendees, like a video telling them what's going to be coming in my talk, to get them all primed and ready, right? So you could do something like that, costs you nothing, but it's great for them. Or you might say, I've got a really good social media following. What I'll do is I'll promote your event for you on social media. Or there's all sorts of ways you can sweeten the pot. And sometimes you don't remember, or you don't think of what they are when you're on the phone doing that negotiation. So when you put the phone down, never ever think, oh, that's it, now it's over. feel free to drop them another email, a considered one. So don't send them 10 emails, just send them one good one. Saying, well, actually, had this conversation. The more I'm thinking about your event, it sounds fabulous. I'd love to speak. What I could also offer you is, let's say you've got a book. I could offer you books at cost price for your attendees, right? That can go in the goodie bag. Or I could create videos, a welcome video for your attendees, so that they get really excited about the event. You sounded like you were interested in the story of X, Y, and Z. I could make sure that I give you a real, really go into good detail on that story and make it very profound and emotional, and reach out to your audience. Whatever it may be, there could be something that is just enough to sweeten the pot, enough to seal the deal for you. So don't be afraid, even after you've had that conversation, don't be afraid to kind of extend things to phone, to email, just to get back in touch with them again if you feel you can add more value. Because what that does is it lets them know, first of all, that you are genuinely keen to take the opportunity. It also lets them know that there is more value that you can add, and it shows that you're somebody who wants to give rather than just take, right? So all those are good things, and that will often tip the balance in your favour. So we've talked about free, we talked about fee. Now, if you absolutely don't want to do it, and sometimes I can think of a singing opportunity someone offered me, and the money wasn't right, it was a long way from home, I wanted to rest that weekend. So for me, it was a definite flee. I don't want to take this. So don't feel guilty turning down certain opportunities. It's completely fine. Presumably the reason you want to speak is because you enjoy it and because it will enhance you or your business in some way. So if you feel that this is not an enhancing opportunity, then, let it go. If you'd rather sit at home and watch EastEnders, hey, fair play to you, whatever it is that you want to do instead. So don't feel guilty about turning things down. Also, if you do turn something down, maybe you can help someone out by referring them. So you're helping out both the organizer and your friend or colleague or contact by saying, well, actually, I can't do this one, but I do know somebody who could. So feel free to refer business on to other people. Now, the final thing I want to say, and then I really must run, is that if people ask you to give more than you're prepared to, or they want to pay you less money, feel free to take something away. So I'll give you a specific example. Someone tried to book me and my singing trio a while ago, and they said, "Well, how much is it for you and the as a part of the trio?" So I told them the price, and they said, "Oh, that's too much. We don't want to pay that much." And that was for 2 hours of singing. So I said, "Okay, that's fine. I understand. Why don't we, instead of singing for 2 hours, why don't we sing for an hour and a half, and then we can reduce the fee a bit for you?" And then he said, "Oh, no, we don't want that. That's not going to be enough music. We need more. We need the full time." I'm like, "Well, that's the fee, I'm afraid." And so we just sat, there was a bit of silence, and I could hear him thinking over the phone. And then eventually he said, "Okay, I'll take it." So if you are aware of all the various bits and pieces, the components of what you offer when you speak, you might say, "Okay, well, you want me to speak for an hour, but you want me to speak for, half the money that I want. Okay, well, what about if I speak for 30 minutes instead?" And then see what they say. Or they may say, "We want you to speak for free." And so then you might say, "Well, okay, I'll speak for free, but can you make sure that I am on my contract, I get official photographs, that I get video footage, that I get, if I do a decent job, I get at least 3 referrals," right? These are all negotiating points that you can sort of throw into the mix so that you feel that you're being fairly treated, that you're getting your what you're worth, and then they feel that they're getting what they want as well in terms of the fee they want to pay or the conditions for your speaking. Because it needs to be a win-win, right? It needs to be a win-win for both of you. So that's it, really. This is kind of a bit of a long-winded one, but in essence, all I'm saying is, bear in mind whether you're going to speak for free, whether you're going to speak for a fee, whether you're going to run away and flee. Also, if they want to give you less, then take something away, right? So that it's a fair exchange and you don't feel like you're being cheated or, ripped off. Because if you do feel like you're being cheated, then when you turn up for this speaking opportunity, you'll probably not have the best attitude, right? You might be feeling a bit resentful or a bit unhappy, So it's much better to be there and to be really joyful and grateful and to know that it's a fair exchange. So that's it from me. So once again, I'm Shola Kay, and I hope this was useful to you. And if you are interested in getting one of my freebies, why not go to my website, sholakay.com/fab-freebies, FAB-freebies. And there are 3 different freebies there that you may want to download, and hopefully they'll be useful to you. And have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.